What's up guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Ben Drittenbass and today I'm gonna show you how to make bonita strips. It's springtime here in Southeast Florida, which means the bonita are plentiful. These things are everywhere. They are bycatch. We catch them all the time while we're mutton fishing, dolphin fishing, tuna fishing. You'll see these things running all over the place with those types of pelagics. So most people throw them back. They're trash fish. Most people don't eat them because they're not very tasty, but they do serve other purposes. And I'm gonna show you what we use them for. We use them for making bonita strips for when we go wahoo fishing. They are pretty expensive when you go to the tackle shop. So I'm gonna show you how we can make them right here at home. So first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna start with your whole bonita. This thing's been sitting on ice for a few days, getting nice and firm. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just knock the sides off of it. And we're gonna try and get it down to a nice thin, about 1/8 of an inch thick. And then we'll shape them into the desired size and the desired shape that we want. So we'll go ahead and we wanna get as much of the silver skin as we want. When you get up towards the top of this back half here, it tends to get a little bit tougher. But this nice flash is what we want for when we're going chasing this wahoo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a nice sharp knife and make an incision. We're gonna go ahead and just outline this fish. Fillet this fish just like we would do any other fish, except instead of trying to get the meat off to eat it, we're gonna leave most of the meat on the fish. I've only done this a few times, and the more times I've done it, the better I've got at it. Like most things, practice makes perfect. A nice half of that bonita. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the other half of this thing and throw it back in the cooler. There's a certain direction that you wanna cut these. This meat is going to the natural grain of the meat goes from the tail to the head. So you wanna cut from the tail to the head. And we're gonna square it off on one side so that when we go to troll these things, it doesn't get all beat up. We want that water to flow right over the top of it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and knock off some more of this meat until we get this down to about, 1/8 of an inch thick. You're just gonna go little by little, taking layers off at a time. You don't wanna go too much. You don't wanna go too deep. Another technique is you can just kind of take your knife like this and just scrape it off. As long as you're going with the grain of the meat. If you go against the grain of the meat, it's going to tear this fish up, and that's not what we want. That's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a nice square cut. Square it off here. And that's going to be the start of our strip. And now the secret to these is you want to make sure that the edges are beveled. So when I go to make my cut here, I'm going to angle my knife at about a 30-degree angle. You want the skin to be hanging over the meat. So I'm going to angle my knife down towards me and make a nice clean cut. All right. Now you just kind of pick the size and the shape. I like to use a little bit bigger ones for the wahoo. So I'll take them probably between 5 and 7 inches long. And now I'm going to bevel my knife. I'm going to angle it back the other way here. And just make a nice football shape. Whew, buggy. There we go. That looks pretty good. So you can see how that's slightly angled. You want that skin hanging over just a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to square this off just a little bit more, just so I really know where my hook's going to go in. So my hook will go in here. If you're using a double hook, you go hook, hook. So now we're going to take this and we're going to go meat side down. We're going to put it in. I've got some brining salt here. You can use brining salt, kosher salt. So I'm going to go meat side down right into that salt. And what that's going to do is it's going to help pull a lot of that moisture out, get these things nice and leathery. You want these things to be nice and tough. And then you'll just keep going. I'm just going to keep repeating that process until I get all these stripped out. And stay tuned, I'll show you guys how we rig these. All right guys, so it's the next day. I went ahead and took the strips and I already did the vacuum seal and we put these in the freezer. This way they'll stay long, they'll stay fresh for any time that we need them. And then you just grab a pack of these, take them to go. So now I'm gonna show you how we go ahead and we rig one of these up. What we do here in Southeast Florida is we will take our strip and we are going to put it onto what's called a sea witch. So the sea witch consists of a variety of different color hairs. We like to use the pink one here in South Florida. It's pretty good. You know, you'll put some flash on it. We've got a little squid teaser here and then connected to our hook. On the end of our hook at the shank, you're gonna have a little piece of wire here. So this wire is what we're gonna feed through the tip of this bait. You're gonna line it up with your hook. Okay, so here's the top. We're gonna go ahead and line this up. I like to go ahead and take the hook and press it into the bait so that it leaves a little indentation so that I know where to come through with the hook. So if you see there, you can kind of see the indentation from the hook. Then I'm going to come back to the top here. I'm just going to take the tip of my hook and poke a little hole right into the skin of this meat. And that's going to be my pilot hole for my wire. Okay? Now I'm going to come through with my wire through the skin. I'm going to go one wrap around, and then I just stick my wire right back up through the eye of the hook here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hook, come right up through the bait, and there you have it. Perfectly rigged Bonita strip on your pink sea witch. Now this thing will just be chattering, swimming underneath the water. What you're going to do is you're going to tie this off either to your planer, or there's an inline planer you can tie it off to, or sometimes we'll tie the planer off to the cleat and we'll attach this with a rubber band. And what that planer is going to do is, as you're towing, it's going to pull this bait all the way down, depending on the size of your planer, 40, 50, 60 feet, depending on how fast you're trolling, how big your planer is. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to present this bait to these wahoo that are typically sitting down a little bit deeper in the water column. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys found this useful, I would really appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you guys don't miss out on any new videos that I post. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you watching.